welcome to this week's Trending Topics Talk. My name is Susan Williams, and I'm the founder of Booming Encore. And today I'm joined by Joe Casey, retirement coach and managing partner of Retirement Wisdom, and Mike Drack, author, retirement coach, and public speaker from Victory Lap Retirement. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, Susan.
So there's a couple topics that I thought might be interesting to talk about this week. First one is there was quite an interesting article in Reuters about the gap between the number of people planning on working past traditional retirement age and the numbers that are actually succeeding in doing that. And what they shared in the article was that 79% of workers are expecting to work during retirement years. However, there is a big disconnect because only 29% of retirees are actually doing it. And actually, in fact, they found that half actually retired before age 62, according to this survey. So it looks like we've got quite a bit of a gap between what people are expecting to do and what's actually the reality of the situation. So my question to you both is, do these findings surprise you at all? And what do you think we can do to help close this gap? Joe, do you want to start off?
Sure. This is something I write about fairly often to just remind people that you really do need a plan B. And I go back to when I was a kid, my mother used to tell me, be careful who you hang around with, because they're going to really have a big influence with you. And I think that happens in retirement because so many people say, I don't need a retirement plan, I'll just work forever. And these statistics underline the fact that that's not really happening for many people. And the timing may not be up to you, because the other thing that comes out of those surveys is that the average length of time people are retiring earlier than expected is about 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's really wise to have, what are you going to do? If that would happen to me, I was 52, I'm now 60, and I transitioned after 26 years in one company. But frankly, I had a plan B. I knew what I wanted to do next, which is the work I'm involved in today. So I think having a plan B is really important, and knowing the timing may not be up to you.
Right. Mike, what do you think?
Well, I agree with Joe about having a plan B in place. I think it's very smart, especially these days. There's so much uncertainty, there's no guarantees, and you have to be prepared for whatever happens. My concern is that if they're leaving work so early, what impact is that going to have on their financial plan? Because that can really cause a lot of problems. And I think part of the problem is that they're not prepared to transition into a new stage of working. Maybe, part of their plan was to get a different job or to try something else, but they haven't prepared themselves for that kind of transition, and because of that they fail. Or maybe they're scared that they're not good enough to work somewhere else, and they have to restore that confidence. And it all comes down to preparation before you actually take that step. And I think your chances of success goes that much higher.
And do you guys think that the actual potential age limitations for hiring may be playing into this as well? So what people expect to do and anticipate to do, the reality may be the opportunities may not actually be there. Joe, what do you think?
I think there's a couple of real factors that we all know about and experience in different ways. The first is ageism. The second is economics, meaning, and I came at this from an HR perspective before, sometimes, frankly, people have a hard time because they're going to be more expensive than some young workers or other alternatives. I think the stats are actually there's only 4% of people 70 and over who are still working, which is very different than the rhetoric. So I think there's a couple of factors at play. Those are two of them: ageism, discrimination, and really economics.
Yeah, and I think there's possibly a lesson there. It's like you may plan for it, but like you said, always have sort of that plan B in case, and making sure that you are prepared. And especially as you start to get up, there's often a lot of downsizing and things that you can't control. So you always, irregardless of your age, in some ways, there always should be something sort of in the back burner so that you're never, completely taken blindsided by it. Okay, second topic up. This was interesting. There was a quite an amusing article in the Scientific American where a baby boomer author actually shared his recent experience in completing one of those home, genome testing tests. The ones where you basically send in your DNA and they come back and tell you, more about yourself. And he found that even though some of the information was correct, some of it wasn't. And he was wondering whether this, is something that should be relied upon. So what do you guys think about these tests? Have you done them? Are you interested in them? Do you think there's any validity to them? Mike, what do you think?
I haven't done one of those tests, but I did something, I guess, somewhat similar, where I did one of those health questionnaires to figure out what your longevity might be. And nothing's written in stone. I think it's good because it gives you a number that you can use to wake up a little bit and say, I have to change my lifestyle. I have to improve things. And I think the key is about putting the odds in your favor, doing the right things for a long period of time, and maximizing the odds that you'll have a good outcome in terms of health and longevity. Right?
How about you, Joe?
Well, when 23andMe first came out, my wife got me the kit as a Christmas present.
I knew Joe would do it.
I think it was retribution for the time that I got her a Roomba and the infamous waffle iron once, which I learned could be weaponized. But in addition to that being the worst Christmas present ever, I didn't really see anything in there that was useful. There was no alerts. It did make me start to wonder about some of my ancestors on the ancestry side, because I am 100% Irish descent, except they had a couple of things mixed in there. So I was wondering who was fooling around earlier in the generations. But I do, all kidding aside, I do get concerned about the potential false positives that may lead people to come to some different conclusions without that much information. So I think it's good to do, but I think it's better to focus on some of the modifiable factors and lifestyle issues that may be a safer bet.
Yeah, no, I think you both made some very good points there. Okay, the last topic I wanted to chat about was when baby boomers retire. There was a Wall Street Journal video about when baby boomers retire, productivity movement would go the door too. So along with taking their box personal items, they're actually leaving, and the productivity is starting to sink in some organizations. Any surprises here? Like, do you think the organizations are aware? Do you think they actually even care, for lack of a better word? Mike, what do you think?
I think they're starting to wake up to, especially the larger corporations, where you see your resources walk out the door at night and they're not coming back, and they're productive, good employees, very loyal, and to lose them, I think, is a mistake, and some people are waking up to that. I think you're already seeing it with the smaller companies where, they're looking for experienced workers. So, they like the older worker because they're more productive and they're reliable. They're going to show up on time and they want to be there.
Right.
And they hit the ground running because they know how to do the job already. So, and, they solve a problem.
Joe, from your HR perspective and experience, is this something that surprised you, or?
Well, as a baby boomer, I can only say that everything is doomed as baby boomers exit. They'll never be the same with all the loss of knowledge. But, I think I echo exactly what Mike was saying about companies are beginning to wake up to it. I think there's a couple things going on. One is the simultaneous trend toward automation, AI, robotics, all that, which will replace some jobs, but also change nature work in some areas. The big thing I think is it really depends so much on the industry. There's a very good reporter who I followed on the space who writes for the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg, Carol Heimowitz. And she's done a lot of work in this area about what industries are being impacted by it. And in those cases, I think companies are waking up and they're beginning to see, boy, we need to do something here because some of these people, the best of the baby boomer generation in specific functions, we need to retain them. And in some cases, even we need to recruit them. And there's been some articles on some companies reinvesting in training for baby boomers, which they had gotten away from with training older workers in recent years.
Yeah, and I think there is a big risk here because so often, I think organizations can take a look at the bottom line and the dollars and the cents of it, versus experience is often something that you can't actually see or tangibly, articulate what the value is, and it's not until it's gone that all of a sudden you realize, oh my goodness, it's no longer here. There's a classic story of, the guy that worked on some major tool in a factory. It broke down, after he had left, and they tried to fix it. He came in, he fixed it, and they said, how much do we owe you? And he said, $20,000. And they said, but wait a sec, that only took you 20 minutes. And the guy said, yeah, 20 minutes plus 35 years. So there is that sort of value to experience, and I think organizations really need to get a handle on this, especially where you've got knowledge workers or people with that technical expertise, and what it actually means when that actually exits out the door they are prepared for it, and it's not a surprise, and it doesn't leave a major gap behind. So guys, that ends today's session. I'd like to thank you very much for your time. And to everybody out there, we hope you are making every day better and living your own great moving on. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Susan.
Thanks, Susan.